Hey everybody, welcome to the Coffee Run Live. It is Monday the 15th of July. Welcome to us if you're on Facebook or if you're listening by SoundCloud or Spotify or iTunes or anywhere else that you may have come across this. What I wanted to talk with you about today is motivation. And it's really interesting because I was having a conversation with a client of mine this morning actually about how she doesn't feel like she has to do anything. And I guess like there are times in our lives where this stuff can actually, come up. It might be after you've achieved a certain level of success. It might be when you've got a certain amount of money in your bank account. It might be when you've got a certain number of people who follow you. It could happen at any given time. And I suppose what's really interesting about this is that when we are, when I kind of feel like we're floating around, or maybe you've got this endless expanse of time in which you can do whatever you like, but there's no urgency to do anything, it can almost be like, for me anyway, it can almost be like the enemy of productivity. It can almost be the enemy for creativity as well. So one of the things that I thought that I would chat with you about today, and it is going to be a reasonably short, sharp and shiny one today because I want you guys in action this week, like not just sitting around listening to me that is lovely, but I want you in action, because when you're in action, you're actually clearly, out there helping people. You're out there doing the thing that you do rather than, not. So when it comes to looking for some motivation, there are a few different ways in which I would personally have a look at going, okay, well, this is what's going on. This is what now needs to happen. So if you're feeling like you've got this endless expanse of time, multiple hours in your day, and it's like, well, you know what, I could do this or I could do that, or, there's no need to do something. It means that you've got to try and find some kind of impetus to start to move. So this could be an external type of thing that you look for. So it might be that hey Catherine, that perhaps you're working with a mentor. Maybe you're in a group where other people are holding you accountable. Perhaps you've got a peer who is potentially like also a great friend of yours, and you could say, hey, this is what I want to do. I just really need to make sure that I am being held accountable to X, Y, Z, or, I want to do this. What do you think? So that level of motivation, like that's great. And it can really help, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to you having to do the thing that you do. So one of the things I like to do, because I don't like just having endless amounts of time available to me, because I find that I spin my wheels. I get distracted really easily. I'm like, oh, I could do this or I could do this. The thing that works really well for me is to set either deadlines in place or set myself some specific tasks. So one of the things that I would have a look at is going, okay, I've got the next hour. What am I going to do? And then really commit to just owning whatever it is in that hour and get moving. It might be writing a blog. It might be writing in your journal. It might be sending out some emails. It might be creating some imagery. It might be going and playing with the kids. Whatever it is in the next hour, focus on that. And then in the next hour, what are you going to focus on? And then in the next hour, what are you going to focus on? So that way, I guess what we're doing is we're creating movement, and motion creates emotion. So if we're looking for the motivation to move forward, often what happens, or often what can help, is that if we start just doing something, then more motivation comes, and then more motivation comes. So I'm a huge fan of routines. I was thinking about this actually about 20 minutes ago, and I've been to the gym this morning. I've got my second daughter is back at school today, so I've got two kids home and one's back at school. Went to the school run and I went straight to the gym, and it was just almost like this wave of kind of relief that it felt like things are kind of almost like back to normal. I knew that I had my live today with you guys at 11. I've got a client call at 12. I've got another one at 1:30, and then I've got the school run again, and then another call at 4. And I'm kind of like, flow looks different for everyone. Now, to me, like, and for me, it's like when I feel most motivated is when I'm in that flow, in the flow zone, or in that zone of, things feeling like they're easy, content feeling like it's easy, like it's just kind of coming out of me, or like I'm channeling it, really. It's just like, oh, I don't know where those words just came out of the ends of my fingers, but damn, that's great. It's almost like, oh, I wish I'd thought of that. And funnily enough, I had. And so the thing for me is that I know that the stuff that flows out of me always comes better when I've got structure, right? And for other people, they really thrive on having these endless amounts of time to just sort of like do whatever it is that they're feeling guided or led to do. I'm like, that just doesn't work for me. And for quite some time, I think I've been really kind of like beating myself up over it because, flow looks like one thing to one person and flow looks like something to somebody else. And, when you're in the zone or you're operating in the zone of genius, it can, I don't know. I just felt like it should look different. I felt like I should be able to be okay with just, this endless expanse of time and just doing whatever it is that kind of comes up for me. But for me, I really find that motivation kicks in, and Catherine, this should help. Motivation kicks in when I set deadlines or time frames, right? So it's like, okay, I'm going to give myself an hour to go and build this funnel. I'm going to give myself an hour or 2 hours to go and write all of those emails. I'm going to spend the next half an hour journaling, and then I usually extend that by another half an hour. So in terms of the motivation, if I'm working in smaller chunks, it really helps me. Now, if we think about it, Simon Sinek is really big on knowing your why. Like he wrote a whole book on it. And I think that this is where sometimes people can become a little bit confused, is perhaps not the right word, but maybe disillusioned. I know for me, I've been disillusioned at different times where I've got this great big goal and that's really awesome, but it kind of feels really like out there. And sometimes like the motivation is I've just got to get cash in the bank. Sometimes we have tight cash flow weeks and sometimes we have really abundant cash flow weeks. Other times the motivation or the impetus to do something is because I haven't released anything new for a while. Or maybe I feel like I have to, just it depends on what's going on. But I really find that if the time frame is shorter, the deadline is closer, it's a bit like the lofty goal, set a shorter, closer milestone that you can achieve. And then that's where at least you're in action. And when we're in action, things start to go faster. That's when flow kicks in. It's when your productivity increases. It's when you have all of these great and amazing ideas and things just seem to really, really work. So that's my little tip for you today, is to really just come back and go, you know what, that end goal is great, but what's just one thing that I can do right now? Or what can I do in this next hour? And then what can I do in this next hour? And if you're focusing on that, then it gives yourself some nice little steps that you can undertake where you can feel like you're achieving. Because I don't know about you, I know like the motivation, so like to go to the gym this morning, I played roller derby on Saturday, and my motivation this morning was just like, right, I've got to have stronger arms, like, rah. And so I've gone in and I've increased my weights and my arms are like jelly now. But it was like that motivation. It was like, okay, I've got a game happening in 4 weeks. The next game is in 4 weeks. So you know what? I've got to be fit and strong, and I want to be even better. And it's not enough to think, oh well, next year I want to do this and this and this. It's like it's got to be, for me, it's got to feel a lot more closer and a lot more tangible. So if you're looking for some motivation, do that. You can have the internal, that's like very internal structured motivation where you've got control, right? You could use some accountability from a mentor or a peer or a friend or someone that you know to hold you accountable to actually or to help kick your ass about getting motivated. And then really, to me, the third thing that you can do is just to sit down and really work out how you operate best, right? So how do you operate best? Do you operate best with structure? Do you operate best with like an empty calendar, and then make whatever it is for you, implement that and get that working? The other thing that I think is super helpful, and one of the things I guess that has me coming back day after day, no matter what is going on, come hell or high water, like I'm in here Monday through Friday, and it's almost like it's not about me. I know that it's my words, but I know that there's also every day that there is something that people need to hear, that I need to share, that will get you moving. So for you, if you think about your audience, think about the people, think about those people who are out there who maybe don't know you yet or really need to hear something from you. What is it that you can show up and say to them? What is it that you can create for them? What blog do you need to write today to help inspire, motivate, educate, entertain them? And then your job is to kind of go and do that. And then when you're shifting it to go, all right, instead of feeling sitting there thinking like, oh my God, I'm so not motivated, I'm spinning my wheels, blah, 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 come back and go, all right, what about the people? What about my audience? What about those people who are, maybe feeling like me? What could I go out and say to them today? And then go and do that. So you're in service then. And that usually fuels motivation as well. All right. That is me for today. Short, sharp, and shiny. If you have any questions, make sure you let me know. If you've happened to not see the Visible Live Market Yourself Like a Rockstar event that is coming up in August, oh my gosh, I don't know where you've been. If you want to know more about that, you can go to www.nicolamoras.com.au/rockstar. There are 4 days left of the bonus, 7 days of bonuses countdown that is ticking backwards. So really excited to share that with you. If you have any questions about anything, let me know. Otherwise, get out there, kick some ass, and remember that we want to be visible because the world is ready for your brand of awesomeness. All right, everyone. Have a great Monday. Bye.